executive producer.
Here she comes. Okay,
listen, you raised them, right?
She said, "Where are my credits?" Okay, so welcome
to another episode of
Love,
Law, and Libations.
Okay, and tonight's featured drink is
The Nearest Truth, a LLL exclusive and original.
Yes, it's black owned, y'all. Uncle Nearest.
Yes. Recipe will be posted. Look out for it. And let us know what you think. Yes, we do read your comments.
Yes. You should engage with us more.
We take a sip though. Okay.
Did you put it down? You're gonna do it again. You put it down.
My bad. I'm sorry, y'all.
Cheers. Okay.
Just remember when you cheers to immediately drink.
Yes.
You ruin the good wishes and everything. And don't waste good liquor.
And some people are like the eyes thing, but okay. So on tonight's episode, talking about love without strategy, why a prenup or postnup
is the T.
Yes.
You need that. It does not mean it's not love.
Mm-hmm. It's the T, it's the key. And I think it's very wise. And especially to the gentlemen out there, the fellas, the men, who be in the comments, and who are just like afraid of marriage in general. I feel like this episode is especially for you because if you are afraid of someone taking half of your stuff that you probably don't got, I'm sorry. Some of y'all.
Check prior episode we discussed what is it about the 50-50 and the Owen Dutch.
I'm sorry.
It's the big bag.
I was being petty. But the moral of the story is, if for the men out there who do not want a woman to walk away with half, for a woman who wants to protect herself, for anybody who wants to protect themselves, this is the episode for you. We're really getting into the law this time. We talk about love a lot, but like heavy on the law tonight. Okay?
Yeah, so the goal of this was love without strategy. Like, that's how you end up divorced. That's how you end up broke. Or on your third therapist. And who's going therapist to therapist? As a social worker, not a therapist. We need help out there. We tired. But the reality is that you want to enter love. It's not just about love. It's about strategy. You're entering a partnership. And just so you understand how important a prenup, postnup is, keep in mind that J-Lo was married 4 times. And had 0 prenups. So make that make sense.
Yeah. So we're also going to get into a little bit of like celebrity gossip, just a little bit, just to give like relatable examples, because baby, why would you not have a prenup in any of those situations? But then again, maybe the men that she was marrying were richer than her.
Or she was the richer part.
No, maybe no. I think if she was richer, she probably would have.
So first husband was a dancer. I think they were about equal. Second husband was Chris Judd. She had more than him. He was a backup dancer.
Okay.
Third husband was Mark Anthony. He came in.
You know Mark Anthony got
more money. Listen, Mark Anthony runs the bodegas here in New York City. You can't go up in there and order beef bacon BLT without dancing to some Mark Anthony.
Okay. Yeah,
okay.
I mean, he is a legend. So.
And there was, unfortunately, surprisingly, ladies and gentlemen, there was no prenup with Ben Affleck, and they're going through a divorce.
And you know, Ben Affleck had more money than her.
I mean, they both.
He's a white man. He's a white man. So she white passing, and he a white man.
They both are wealthy individuals.
She also has a vagina, so I know that Ben Affleck has more money than her. Okay.
Today's episode is about working smarter and not harder. So let's get into it, because again, this is love law and libation. So yes, we're discussing love, but we're going to give you the legal perspective. And the first thing we're going to do is tell y'all what a prenup is.
So the legal love letter before I do.
Please remember the legal love letter before you do, because marriage is a partnership, like a business. Yes. It's literally the LLC. And the name of it is your name. It's your last name.
And this is prenup 101. Get into it, Sean.
Okay. So what's a prenup? I'm going to explain to y'all the easiest way. A prenuptial agreement, or a prenup, is basically a legal contract that a couple signs before getting married. Basically, it outlines things like money, property, debts to be handled if the marriage ends, either by divorce or death. Keep in mind, it's not to run your marriage per se. It's just what happens in the event that this marriage is over. So basically, think of it like an insurance policy. You know how them women on Snap love them a $10,000 insurance policy? You hope you'll never need it, but you have it. You drive a car. You have your car insurance. Why? Just in case you needed.
Right.
That's what your prenup is. So if things go left, you're not scrambling. You're not emotionally. Here's the thing: emotions changes things. So if you have a legal document that clearly dictates stuff, just because you hate how this nigga breathe, you hate how that man breathe, you hate how she breathes and eats.
Right. And
none of that matters.
And people can have like promises, expectations.
Exactly.
And you know, there's some people that go into marriages, you know, for the come up to make a profit. So you do have to watch out for that. You have to watch out for that. Like, you know, just understand that. But most states, you know, they've adopted
bar prep.
Yes, they have adopted the Uniform Premarital Agreement Act, the UPPA, which serves as a model law to standardize prenuptial agreements across jurisdictions. Because there's things about a prenup where it can't be like last minute.
It can't be unconscionable. So for those who don't know what that means, under the law means you didn't give this person time to consider. It's very unfair. Mm-hmm. It's unethical. And technically unmoral. Right. We're actually going to get into what you can and cannot put in the prenup. Mm-hmm. But the UPPA, the Universal, yes, basically is one of the many laws that the states altogether try to do in order to make it uniform. So what may happen in New York is also going to happen in California regarding your prenup. Now, there are some states that didn't adopt it. This is where you holler at your particular state lawyers. Yeah. Because we're New York and Oklahoma attorneys, so we don't even tell you about those two states. We can't practice law on the states. Yeah. But definitely follow up with an attorney to figure out what you can and cannot discuss and what the UPBA, if it's even applicable to your state.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the next topic, right?
So after you get married is what we're going to discuss next. So that's marriage. But let's make it strategic. So we're going to break down what a postnup is. And my girl is going to explain to you exactly what that means, right? Because a prenup and a postnup are two very different things. So let me know what happens with a postnup.
Okay, so first of all, the word post, right? Which is meaning after the fact. So if you did not get a prenup, you also have the option to get a postnup. And a postnuptial agreement or postnup is the same type of contract, but it's signed after you are married. Life happens. Maybe someone, starts a business. They inherit money.
Got some debt.
Right. There's been a rough patch, and both partners want to just clarify and just, listen, you can make that agreement even after you're married. Okay? So that's really, really important to understand.
Because sometimes, here's the other thing about a prenup. You can't rush a prenup, right? So you can't give your prenup to your spouse 24 hours before y'all get married and expect for them to sign it, right? Because most courts, we learned that in law school, are going to find out that that's kind of unconscionable. Like, how much time do they have to really talk to another attorney and read through the prenup, right?
Like, if you give it to me on a Friday, most attorneys' offices
are only
closed on Saturday and Sunday, and the wedding is Saturday. Most weddings, the prime time is Saturday. I'm sorry, but if you do get married on a weekday, that's probably because you either really, really, really wanted the venue or you just didn't have the money. Because the prime time to get married is a Saturday. I'm sorry.
And before you question her, she's a formerly married woman. Yes. She planned the whole wedding.
I'm divorced, but I'm just saying, if you're getting married Sunday through Friday, it's probably at a discount, or because you really wanted the venue, prime time is Saturday.
But you definitely want to consider the postnup because sometimes things come up. For example, you didn't have the time to talk to your spouse about, I have a lot of money in student loan debt. Them 4 degrees did not come free, right? So that's a conversation I had to have with my fiance. He knows how much credit card and student loan debt I have. And he still loves me. But we are both adamant about having the prenup because why? We both have children. Which we're going to get into.
Yeah, we're going to get into that.
Into why you need the prenup.
So go ahead. Wasn't there a man who called off a wedding?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Of student loan
debt.
So
we're going to post this up. Y'all going to see. You can refer to it as, or actually it wasn't even student loan debt because she was not out getting an education. It was credit card debt. She was just swiping and going, girl. She was just swiping and going.
And paying the minimum payment.
So, we be out here finding our content because we do come to y'all doing our investigations. Because what the two black women are going to do is do what? Come with receipts. We're going to come in through the research.
Mm-hmm.
So
we have facts.
Yeah, so this was posted by 8 at the table because we love to give credit where credit is due. And they mentioned that there was a middle-aged man who called off his wedding. Why? Because he found out that his future spouse had $95,000 in credit card debt. He asked her to sign a prenup. She refused. That ended it. He walked away.
He called the wedding off?
He called the wedding off.
Wow.
And so there's some people who are appalled, but we're gonna get into why you need that prenup, but keep in mind, this is why a prenup and a postnup, because sometimes you're not gonna find out everything when you get married. Although y'all should be out here playing truth or dare and all kinds of shit.
And
21 questions.
Yeah.
You should ask these questions.
You can inherit someone's debt. That's actually possible.
As a spouse, what ends up happening is that's your partner in essence. And this is maybe not legal, but the reality is that your spouse becomes your agent, right? And so up until about 50 years ago, remember we discussed this, women couldn't even get credit cards if they didn't have a husband. So imagine if your wife has your Social Security number. You got better credit than her. And she been meaning to get that damn Brandon Blackwood from Nordstrom. Do they sell them at Nordstrom before I jump into that?
I don't know.
Anyway, she been meaning to get that.
I buy it officially from the site.
Yeah, please buy from the site directly. But she might be willing to buy that Brandon Blackwood and just need your good 780 credit score. So it's not that you don't love her, but your credit is your credit.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's talk about what you can and cannot put into a prenup. There's some things that you just don't have the legal right to say, oh, I'm not going to pay child support. That's not an option.
You never have the option to choose child support because that's handled by the state courts. That's definitely a family court thing. In fact, there's no way around that. We're going to get into the detail of the origins of the family court system before y'all come in here and talk about your shit. But,
right. But if you're worth a lot of money and say you just want to be like, oh, I'll give you X, Y, and Z dollars, you know, you can put that in a prenup. And you can say, like, the rest of my money is off limits. But, you know, I'll give you... Yeah.
You also can't prevent your spouse from getting alimony because, like child support, that's also set up by the courts. They determine the alimony. Basically, your spouse's support. And
not everyone is entitled to alimony.
Facts. Also, keep in mind, alimony is not gendered, which means, ma'am, because you run around here making 6 figures and he works a good 5-figure job. You are likely going to pay alimony. So alimony doesn't go by gender. What it looks at is who makes the most money.
Or especially if he didn't have a job. Imagine that.
Oh, I mean, just keep in mind. So before y'all run around here talking about, if the roles were reversed, the women would be up in arms. No, the courts don't care about gender like that.
There are women, and we would get into it. Okay, there are some women, and we're going to get into it.
I mean, y'all may not believe it, but there are in fact women who are the breadwinners because surprisingly,
let's talk about it now real quick.
Surprisingly, black women happen to be the most highly educated.
We know that. And paid and had a household.
But keep in mind,
there are women who have had to pay money. Halle Berry has had to pay.
Oh, we're actually going to get into who played the smart and who didn't.
Yeah.
Actually, we're going to jump into that right now before we tell you what you can't put in.
Because Halle Berry had to pay.
She had to pay her child's father, so that was the model.
Was it child support?
That was child support.
Yeah,
so
she paid child support
because she was a higher earner. But Miss Halle Berry was not. The prenup that was in place for the last husband, who was also an actor, but not a Halle Berry actor. Halle Berry A-list. Mr. Martinez, and you can beat me up if you want. I don't give a flying fuck.
Martinez who?
That is his last name Martinez?
I don't even know.
The last guy is also an actor, but he's not a Halle Berry actor. So
I don't even know who he is.
Exactly. So meaning he's a C-list celebrity. Now he may be popping in Spain, but baby, we live in America. And Halle Berry runs this shit here. Black women has Halle Berry right now who's getting digged out by a beautiful black man. Did you see her Instagram?
I saw her posted in the bed, girl.
Girl.
Anyway,
I wish all of us would get digged down like Halle Berry did on Mother's Day.
I did see her posted in the bed. I did, and I love it for her. And didn't Sherry Shepherd have to pay as well?
I didn't even have Sherry Shepherd listed on our notes because you know we be trailing off. But what I did have was, so Sherry Shepherd didn't necessarily have a prenup, and she ended up having to pay child support for a child that technically wasn't biologically hers.
Wow.
Because it was a child of the marriage.
Wow.
We're not trying to give you too much free legal advice, but just remember, a child of the marriage is a legit legal term.
It's assumed to be, if you're married, someone has a child, and it's assumed to be the child of the marriage.
Right?
Automatically. And then Mary J. Blige, we know that too. She had to pay. Yeah.
So,
yeah, she had to pay alimony.
Yeah.
Or not alimony, but there was some type of settlement.
So he definitely tried to get something, right? Because he also was a manager at one point.
Right.
See, ladies and gentlemen, this is my best friend. And as also an attorney, we understand that we are not about to ruin this friendship for legal reasons, right? So everything is secure, that we're going to follow the rules and regulations we both sat here. This is why when you do your prenup, review it with an attorney. Because y'all didn't do 3.5, 4 years of law school like we did.
And you have certain rights. Like you can challenge a prenup if you are presented with one. And like I always say, I love Sex and the City, and I've mentioned it before in one of our previous episodes.
She does.
Charlotte said, "I'm worth $1 million." She's presented with a prenup by Bunny and came back with a counter offer. So
you can always counter offer.
You can have an attorney look at it, and then you can, have language changed. I think in like a recent episode, was it with Chad Ochocinco?
Yes, the situation with him and his fiance. Mind you, she runs a whole real estate
she was
enterprise. He don't do. Listen, he's a great football player. He may have other businesses, but
selling Tampa.
He don't sell real estate.
She was on selling Tampa.
He don't sell real estate. That's not his domain. That's not his ministry. He could throw a ball.
And so she wanted to protect her assets. So
she should.
Right. So they were even having their own like little dispute about prenups. But Sean, please get into what you can and can't put into a prenup.
So you can't put into a prenup. So let's get into what you can put in. You can absolutely put in who owns what going into the marriage. We previously briefly discussed what separate property is versus what marital property is, right? Yeah. So anything you bring into the marriage that you have not commingled meaning you have not used that for the marriage, is yours.
Right.
So you come in here with the business is yours. So you come in with a home or a condo, that condo or business or home is yours.
Yeah.
That's yours. Now what you acquire within the marriage is something that y'all need to address in that prenup. For example, you buy a home, split down the middle.
Right. So that's why it's really good to, like Shah is saying, to list what you're coming into the marriage with, so we know that this is separate property.
That means being honest about what your financial assets and liabilities are. And a lot of us don't like to be honest.
Right. Like homegirl with $95,000.
Lord, $95,000
that he didn't find out about until like right before the wedding.
Right. You want to be that. You want to also keep in mind of how future income and assets will be divided. For example, let's say you work a municipal job. You get a pension. I mean, after 30 years at the post office, you should be expecting a pension, right? But is your spouse entitled to that pension? You can decide how to work that out. That's not alimony. That's literally stuff that you worked for and paid into. Mm-hmm. And it's like, do you share that with your spouse? You have every right to determine how money that you worked for pays to your spouse. What you don't get to decide is how your spouse gets paid after y'all in that marriage. The courts do that.
Right. Yeah, that's talking about like family inheritances.
So what you inherit, for example, great grandma left you a house, just you, not your wife, because she never liked Susan. She left it to Robert. That's Robert's house, unless
you move Robert in.
Unless you move Susan in. Unless you move Susan in, or you fuck around and was like, well, grandma left us this nice cabin out here in Maine, and every year for 10 years you take Susan and the children to that cabin. Susan gonna get her part of that cabin. That's how that works, because you used it for your marriage. So to the courts, y'all share that. But you also check with your family law attorney, who's likely going to tell you the same thing, because we didn't go to law school for 3.5, 4 years just for nothing.
But then again, like let's say that same family house was not only left to you, but it was left to your siblings. Then
it's a different dynamic.
Then Susan probably won't.
She won't be able to get the house, right? Because at that point, y'all alternate. Let's say you take it one year, your sister takes it another year. Even if y'all do it as a family, it doesn't just belong to you.
Right. Then that's
so it'll be difficult. They'll be less likely to take that and give part of that to Susan, because it's not just yours, right?
Right.
So it's obviously not a marriage. It really does depend. And it definitely depends on making sure, again, The biggest issue is commingling. We don't give y'all legal advice because we're in New York and Oklahoma, but commingling is a big issue. People tend to forget that money you may won from the lottery, once you put it in that joint account, now it belongs half to your spouse.
And then also there's like certain protections too that come like with a prenup. Like you can literally like protect, like we're talking about like listing your business, listing your properties. You can protect your partner from like, say your business goes under, right?
They can't come after you.
They can come after you, but they can't come after your partner because you've listed this as a separate.
You also should have put your business as an LLC, as a limited liability company. So when your business goes under, they won't come for your baby's house.
Right. Because that gives you protections, but that's a separate thing.
We'll get into that.
But there's always layers, like there's reasons why things protect you and there's benefits to things.
Now, a prenup, which we just discussed as well, can help couples reset their financial boundaries. Let's say after you get married, you find out that your spouse has hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loan debt. The federal government, as we just learned recently, is that that administration is coming after you for collections. And if they can't, they can garnish your tax return if they want to. So if you want to kind of reset these financial boundaries to say, hey, I love you to death, but I don't think the family fund should be paid for your student loan debt from 7 years ago, you handle that, we'll handle that. You can put that in the post-nup.
Okay, so that's interesting. So a post-nup can also protect you from debt that you find out about later.
Yes.
This is what I'm trying to say. It's very important, folks. Prenups protect you ahead of time, and post-nups do the same basic job. It's just after. So if you didn't do a prenup, post-nup is a great option because, you want to protect yourself.
It's also a really good option, like you mentioned earlier, inheritance. So a lot of us, unfortunately, our parents and loved ones are they're going to die before us, right? And they're going to leave us something.
Right. And maybe you didn't know that you were going to inherit something.
Because usually that.
And then you find out. So if you find out you're going to inherit something.
You want to get a post-nup, especially if, like you mentioned earlier, what if it's used by the whole family, right? You don't want to have your spouse try to get a piece of something that's family owned and operated.
Right.
Like that creates chaos, right? You also want to protect your partner from your business liability. Some of us are entrepreneurs. I'm not an entrepreneur myself, right? So he wants to protect me from, if his, like you mentioned earlier, if your business goes up, do you really want them garnishing your spouse's check?
And you like Shanika said, also you should have put certain protections in place where it's a limited liability company. So that means you're not that liable. That's literally what that
Basic what it means. The definition.
You can only come after me, but for so much. I'm not liable, I'm not responsible. You know what I mean? And that's what these pieces of paper are for. People love to say marriage is just a piece of paper. A lot of things are paper.
A lot of
money is paper.
When you sign up for Facebook, that's paper. That's 23 damn pages of paper that none of us read.
Yeah, it's electronic, but they will print it out in paper.
It's really hard. So now that you know what you can put in there.
Save the trees, y'all.
Yes, that be me and my trains. I'm like, please don't print it out if you don't have to. But now that you know what you can put in the prenup, let's talk about what you can't.
Okay, let's talk about what is not legal, baby. I'm sorry, but like we touched on it earlier, get them, Sean.
So you can't encourage a divorce. For example, some people will sit around here and say, well, I'll divorce you if you do this. Or if more so, it's if we divorce, or let's say if you cheat, or if you do this, we get an incentive to divorce. So then we divorce and you got to pay me $1 million. The court's going to say no. If you divorce me and then I get paid this, like an incentive, like let's say instead of you fixing the marriage, going to therapy, going through, it could be something that's minded. If there's an incentive to just let this person go, so you get a windfall, the courts are going to say no. And that typically happens when one of the partners is wealthier than the other, and the incentive actually is for the more wealthier partner. Like, for example, if you think she comes from the other side of the track, she ain't got no money. If she cheats on me, or she don't bore me a child in 2 years, she's gonna pay me $1 million and I could divorce her.
But isn't it legal to put incentives like you get more money though?
You can put incentives, but not incentives to divorce. The incentives to stay in the marriage. For example, as you mentioned earlier,
for every 5 years we're married, I'll
get
give you this.
You're entitled to this. Or for every child you give me, obviously you can't discuss child support, but you could say I'll pay
For
for
every
this.
child you give me,
Yes.
I'll give you this.
You could put incentives to keep the marriage
Oh,
going, but
but
nothing
you
to
can't
divorce.
put incentive to divorce. Got you.
Yeah,
Because I was sitting here looking in the maiden like I'm learning. Like, I was really learning.
Yeah, so basically, let's say this.
I hope y'all do too.
Let's say that she doesn't bore you a child, right? Infertility issues, she can't control that. You can divorce her and charge her $1 million and then move on. No, that's illegal. To divorce her, the court is like, this is stupid.
Right, like you can say, if for every child you bear me, or I'll gift you this. But you can't say, oh, I'm going to punish you. You never gave me children.
Basically, no
You
punishment.
never gave me a kid, so you got to give me $1 million.
If the punishment is divorce and you get $1 million, the courts are not going to go for that. You also can't basically put anything regarding child support, child custody, because again, the courts determine that. And what is it?
It is what is the best interest of the child.
And that's every state has the best interest of the child.
We cannot say, oh, in the prenup, the child will go with mom, the child will go with dad, the child will go with whoever.
The courts determine
We can't do that. We can't say in the prenup, like, oh, I'll give you X, Y, and Z dollars a month for child support. No.
The court
has to determine.
There's also a calculator, ladies and gentlemen. So before you run around here and huff and puff, most states have a calculator.
And it has a max. Okay, it has a max.
It does have a max, unless you're a high asset.
So for people who make a lot of money, you'll be all right. You'll be actually all right.
Except for some states do have the discretion, depending on high asset individuals. For example, you make $1.5 million a year and live in Texas. Texas is going to get you, baby. Texas is going to get you. How do I know? Because I write legal content for your favorite lawyers. Just so you know, Texas is going to get you. New York is going to get you. California is going to get you. So if you make an excessive amount of money,
California will get you. I think a lot of our fears stem from Tinseltown. I think a lot of it stems from Hollywood, LA, because a lot of your favorite actors, athletes, whoever, musicians, artists, they are, live in LA, they get married in LA or somewhere in California, and then what happens is California is a community property state. So that's where this 50-50 notion comes from. Oh, they're going to take half of everything I got. That is not necessarily the truth. And there are also tools, which we're trying to teach you about, prenups and postnups. Okay?
Yep.
So, yeah.
The last thing you can't include in your prenup or postnup has anything to do with alimony per se. Like waivers, particularly waivers of alimony, meaning that neither one of you can have in that prenup that you will waive your alimony. Because like child support and child custody, the courts determine if alimony is even provided. Like my girl mentioned earlier, most states have a limit. So if you've been married under 3 to 5 years, you're likely not going to get alimony. If you're married over 3 to 5 years, New York is about 3 years or so, 3-5 years. Other states are more, other states are less. You will get alimony based on your state.
Okay, let's play a little quick game. Because we mentioned a couple celebrities, right? Let's run down a list real quick and let's say who played it smart and who did not. Girl, okay? When it comes to the prenup, postnup, whatever you want to call it, let's see. All right, so which one of these celebrities got married without a prenup? Kenya Moore.
What do you think? Put it in the comments.
Jeff Bezos.
Amazon founder. What do you think? Put it in the comments.
Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade.
We know who they are because Shady Baby was in our house for 3 damn years and now she's such a beautiful girl.
Okay, Beyonce and Jay-Z.
Y'all know y'all got the tickets to that Cowboy Quarter tour.
Britney Spears, and she's married twice to Kevin and to Sam.
Technically 3 times, but the first time was a no. When we get into that, let us know in the comments if you want to know what a no is.
Yeah, I want to know. Okay, so you want to know the answers?
You want to know the answers?
Want to know the answers?
Get the answers.
Okay. So, Kenya Moore and Mark Daly did not have a prenup. So I got a drink to that. I have a drink.
Wait. And they're still kind of beefing for a number of things. So...
I'm gonna drink to that one.
Wait, before y'all jump in here, keep in mind while we all love Kenya as a Real Housewife of Atlanta, Mark actually is a restaurateur here in New York. He has a number of restaurants.
Right.
So he came in with his own money.
Right. Okay. Okay. Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade. What do you think?
Prenup!
Okay. So I do not have to drink. Don't drink that.
Let me tell you why. Because remember, our girl Gabby was previously married, as was Dwayne Wade.
Okay. So
They both
smart.
was previously married, and they came into this both with their own money, their own name, their own awareness, and they understood the
And
idea
their
of
own,
protecting.
and he had his own children too. So
Yes.
that's definitely a reason too. If you have kids outside of this union that you're bringing in, you definitely want to do a prenup, postnup, something.
Oh, we're gonna get into why you want a prenup, postnup. We're gonna get into why.
Okay. All right. Okay.
You said Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos.
I mean, some of y'all probably have already seen it, but he did not have a prenup
Oh,
with
we
Mackenzie.
got a drink.
He did not have a prenup with Mackenzie. And I personally have to shout out Mackenzie while I am not feminist because baby. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, one more time.
What'd you be?
I'm sorry. I was trying to educate y'all. Sorry. They did not have a prenup, right? But keep in mind that they were married when they were struggling, and she literally helped him build Amazon. He did not beef with her when they divorced. He knew because she was the woman behind the powerful man. What I will commend Mackenzie on moving forward is that she did not become one of those billionaire women. She has given a large majority of her wealth to charity, non-profits. If she picks them, she handpicks her charities. So before y'all run around here and cry about how women out here stealing stuff they didn't earn, she was in that basement with Jeff.
Okay.
And she doesn't
Started
go for
from the
her
bottom.
money.
Started from the bottom, baby. Okay.
She was with him. She was in there. She was a secretary from 9 to 5. She was a secretary.
She was shooting with him in the gym.
Working every day of the week.
Period.
Right? So she had it. So,
all right, and now, Brittany. I love me some Brittany, girl. Okay?
So, Brittany had a
two
prenup.
marriages. Okay, so we're going to
Well,
do
technically 3. She technically had 3. But
Three?
remember, yes, because the annulment that happened with Jason Alexander.
Oh, that doesn't count. If it's an annulment, was
Correct.
it really a marriage? Okay.
She had a prenup with both. Both.
So I
Of
got
her
to drink
husband.
twice?
We have to drink twice.
Yeah,
She had a
she
prenup
had to
for
drink
Kevin and Sam.
Oh, wait, are we doing it for knots? I can't remember.
No, we're doing it for not, so we don't drink. But girl,
But I'm
Brittany,
sure I'm proud. Cheers.
Brittany.
An icon.
So Brittany had a prenup for both Kevin and Sam.
And she got out quick.
Keep in
With the
mind,
other one, annulment.
as we heard about the child
Annulment
support.
got to be within like a certain
So the annulment happened within like 72 hours. It's a Vegas wedding, and obviously they were able to get to the note. But keep in mind that
Was that
the
the one where she
prenup-
had hot dogs?
they was in Vegas.
Maybe that was with Kevin.
No, that probably was the Vegas guy. But anyway, keep
I
in
don't know. I
mind.
think she had hot dogs.
Hot dogs or not, keep in mind that as y'all just heard, she just finished paying child support for her last kid with Kevin. She couldn't work that child support in the prenup. So her paying that child support was what California forced her to pay. She could not put that in the prenup. But what Kevin got, she could put in the prenup. Now he benefited because the kids was with him in his custody, which we already discussed child custody. Go check them other episodes. So basically, there you go. That's what you can and cannot put in the prenup.
Yeah.
If you have a question, we can't offer you legal advice, but you can put them in the comments, and if we have some time, we'll answer them.
Yeah.
And then tell you to go and holler at an attorney in your particular state, because that's what good attorneys do.
That's what we do. And so with that being said, anything else you want to add, boo?
Wait, who keeps the dog?
Oh, well, Snooki was, if it comes down to my baby, that is separate property. But if you acquire the dog during marriage, you can share custody. You can.
With that being said, there are in fact pet prenups, right? Because I know this may hurt your pet mom, right? But the Lord just acknowledged your pet as property, not as a child.
That's what I said.
She's
Snooki.
correct.
What's what I said? First thing I
She's
said.
separate property.
Separate property.
Unless y'all got the dog.
I mean, when you
together.
take your dog to the vet, immediately they have your last name. Immediately.
So what happens to the dog? Get that pet prenup in there. Make sure you clearly detail what happens to your family pets, because again, they may be property to the law, but we know they have feelings.
Okay, and you know they bonded with a certain person, so just go ahead, whoever they bond with, put it in the postnup.
Right, so what we about to tell you is exactly the 5 reasons when not to skip a prenup. Number 1, you're marrying rich. It's not just to protect the wealthy spouse.
That's right.
Right? Remember cash doll. Wealthy people, she said wealthy things, but I'm going to say wealthy people tend to try to control the relationship because they have the wealth. Protect yourself. One of you have major debt. For example, student loan debt, credit card debt. We mentioned earlier, homegirl with the $95,000 debt literally debted herself out of a marriage.
That's right.
Right? And then we have family inheritance or trust funds involved. Some of us may have the luxury of having a trust fund, or some of us are being left family home in North Carolina. You don't necessarily want your spouse to get that family home in North Carolina. Maybe you want to share it with your family, the siblings, cousins, etc. Business ownership, particularly those that don't have an LLC. If you run into sole proprietorship, you run around here with a family-owned business. If they sue your business, they sue you. And in general, they sue your spouse. So you want to protect not just yourself, but you want to protect your spouse's money as well.
LLC.
Limited liability company, corporation, depending on where you're at.
It will protect you.
Yes. And lastly, you have kids from a previous relationship. Interstate rules get real iffy depending on your state rules, meaning what happens if you don't have a will.
Right. You don't want it to go to intestate court, so go ahead and protect.
You want to do that.
Kids.
Most states is like, okay, if that's your spouse, y'all have kids together, 100% to the spouse. Let's say you have kids from a prior relationship, 51% to the spouse that you are married to, the remaining amount to your children. Let's say you want your children to inherit your business, you can get a prenup that will determine that your children inherit your business.
That's right.
So that's what you want to do.
Be smart, folks. And with that,
we just got one more tip. How you gonna bring it up without breaking up? That's kind of my domain as a social worker therapist.
At the end of the day, like I said, you can make a counter offer. So
you can always make a counter offer. But what we will say is proper preparation prevents poor performance. I got that from my boo, and he's right. Getting a prenup doesn't mean you don't love each other. What it is preparing for something that may happen. Not the inevitable, but people do fall out of love. People do change. And one of the things that we noticed first thing, listen, our family court semester, chaos, drama, shenanigans. Things get real contentious when you involve emotions. So a prenup or postnup just makes it easier that if y'all separate,
it's a
emotions.
Clean break. Clean break. That's what you want. So, yeah, folks, get that prenup, get that postnup. Check with your state family law attorneys because, again, it's state specific. That's correct. Everything that, happens in Tinseltown is not
going to happen in Oklahoma.
Okay? So, with that being said, good night, y'all.
And enjoy this episode of Love, Law, Libations.
Cheers.
Protect yourself.
Strap up. Get that prenup.
It's the strap up.
It's like a condom.
Yes, that's the new motto. A prenup is like a condom.
Or contraceptive. Protect yourself.